Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, I know. It is not 6:30. I should have been on here a minute ago. However, I am out of town and you know what? Your girl overslept. this this is real. Good morning. Good morning. It's a blessing to see y'all this morning. This is the morning dew for certified doers, just like you, just like you. It's been a long week. I know we normally kick this off at 6:30, but like I said, it has been a varsity week. Um, I am out of town, so I hope that y'all can grant me just un poquito grace with getting on here. Try to make promises made, promises delivered. We want to make sure that I wanted to make sure that I at least got on here and told you guys a little bit about the week. As many of you may know, look, we just had primaries here this week. So it's rough. Like dogs are barking. Good morning. Dogs are barking. It's a beautiful week. We have some new legislators that will be coming up in the General Assembly. So it's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm Jackie Glass, mama, a Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates 89th District. So hello on Instagram, hello on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. But let's get right to it. So, what's really important, I want to really break down what's going to happen over the coming months. For those of you guys who don't know, we are going to be doing summer school for certified doers. Now, summer school for certified doers, the dates, we should have a flyer out this week. I'm going to get on the team to get a date out this week. This is just a reminder for real, for real. If you don't understand the legislative process, right? You don't know how we make bills, you don't know how it works, you just want to figure it out. This is the time, right? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to walk you through from start to finish how you can take your idea, your thoughts, your process and turn it into a bill. Oftentimes, I've had people come to we had summer school last year. They came and they were like, you know what? We don't even need to do a bill. You need to go to your civic league. This is a city council thing. This is a thing. So really, it's an opportunity for folks for you, right? If it's your thing, to learn a little bit more about the legislative process. All 140 seats, right? The 100 senators, the 100, the 100, I'm backwards, the 100 delegates, the 40 senators, they're up for election in November. And so that Thursday primary, as you guys may know, that Tuesday primary that we just had, let us know almost every single candidate that's going to be running in the Virginia General Assembly. And that's like our for those of you guys don't, when I say General Assembly, I know sometimes that's foreign language to people. It's like our Virginia Congress, right? Our House and our Senate, except for we call it the House of Delegates instead of the House of Representatives, and the Virginia state senators instead of U.S. senators. But we'll be holding that in our hands. It's going to get real over the coming weeks, right? It's going to get really, really, really real. So for those of you guys who have been out there, like, how do I get involved? This is the time. Now's the time that we start, big wheels keep on turning. Big wheels really, really keep on turning. And what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm going to get on here just for a quick one today. Like I said, I was running behind today. I am out of town really on our work retreat before the General Assembly. So we are this week working, and I'm some hours away trying to make it happen, Kevin. But if you have any questions, any comments, concerns, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I will try my best to answer your questions and or get back to your questions as we have them, because I know my usual folks are like, she didn't do no live today because I came on here so late. If you have a community event, drop it in the chat. I'll make sure I shout it out. Do something to make sure I shout it out as well. Some big stories that we have. Really, the biggest thing that we had this week was the primary. So I need to know this right now. Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you get out there and did you make your voice happen on Tuesday? Did you do it? Did you? But there were a lot of upsets. There were a lot of not. I mean, well, depends on what side of it you're on, whether it's an upset or whether you saw it as an opportunity to clear the board for us. And then you'll start to see some the summer. This is when it's going to get really really real. Folks will be taking shots. Y'all know how political campaigns works. This is just how we'll be rolling. Some of the biggest headlines this week, just so that we talk about what we have going on in the General Assembly here. Norfolk just, if you guys read the pilot story they put out about the license plate readers without having official policy and on how the data can be collected, that has been a whole thing. I think we talked about this. We may have talked about it on the Morning Dew. But our team has, even before the license plate readers came out, had been looking at that data collection piece. We had an amazing meeting with people with experts bigger than us. Actually, we met with some folks at IBM and other places just to ask them about your privacy. And if you're not sure what a license plate reader is, if you are driving around town and you see that long pole where it looks like there is a solar panel on top of it, that is a license plate reader. It can read your plate, your card, know the make, know the model. That's some real stuff. But my biggest issue has and will always be your privacy, because of the Patriot Act. And if you guys don't know, that's when we decided that we was going to go ahead and start, spying on our own folks for the sake of safety. Because of that, we have lost sight of the debate between privacy and security, right? Like we compromise, we give up more privacy for the sake of feeling and being secure. And there are 172 of these things in the city of Norfolk. That is going to be if what I want you all to understand is if you have an issue or if you have question, how that works. At the local level, those are the folks, right? The police chief, that's local. The city council, that's local. These are the folks that you talk to if you take issue with the fact that there's no policy, that these are implemented. Or maybe you're like, I'm so glad these are out here. This is really great that we have these license plate readers. However you feel about it, you get at the council and the city manager and the police chief. Those are questions for them. When you talk about the policy behind having the license plate readers, right? Not the policy, but the requirements for when cities install these and what needs to happen. That's when you get at the General Assembly, right? That's when you start talking to folks at the state level, because we are a Dillon Rule state. And I say this all the time. We are a Dillon Rule state whereby these localities where you live, your city, gets their powers and authorities from the Commonwealth of Virginia. The General Assembly says the things that, good morning from the Eastern Shore. Hey there. So these license plate readers, right? So now, right? So whether you take issue with the city having them or not, when we talk about how we do this across the Commonwealth, the implementation, that's where I come in. And so my issue is always going to be how do we do what we're going to do and the way we're doing it better. Part of it is they say, state lawmakers, they interviewed us as well. And like I told you, we've already started looking at some legislation to really think by how do we tailor people being able to have access. And this is the issue, right? So some of you guys will be saying this is great license, because it is. When we talk about people going missing and tracking crime, because we have folks that the Kia boys stealing cars and trying to find cars. When we talk about those things, this is a great tool, and we're getting a lot of good tools for solving crime, right? Like technology, just as it goes up in our personal lives, it's transforming the criminal justice system, but we have to be mindful of that. My issue, right, what I mean by privacy is the fact that there is no limits to who has access to this data, right? So just like the Virginia State Police had that trooper that took himself over all the way over to California and killed them people. We mindful that human beings, right? No matter their role, even as legislators, we're still human beings, that these human beings have access to your information. And our goal is to make sure that when they do have access to this, that we have some circumstances by which they're able to do it, right? Like, can it be encrypted, right? Can we encrypt the data and they can get a match, get a known whether there's a match or not a match without them having to um, um, get access to everybody's information on can we make it so that the only way that a person is able to access that system, maybe it's through the clerk of the court with a warrant, right? Like, who holds on to this? And so we're really thinking about these sorts of things. And if you have ideas, right, this is that season. Good morning. Good morning. I try, Jason. I try. We get up here and we try. I'm running late today. So I'm telling you, I'm running late today because I'm out of town. But that's where you all come in as part of this citizen legislator, right? I'm a part-time job with full-time problems. That's where you come in with your great ideas. So if you got feelings about it, strong feelings about something like this or something else, then I'm going to super encourage you to reach out to the office, right? Reach out to us, whether it's via email. Go to the website, delegatejackieglass.com, send us a message, just let us know your thoughts and your feelings. This is the time. And that's how I'm going to leave this, is that this is the time to start talking to your legislators. I'm saying this to you guys, right? This is the actual time to start talking to your legislators about legislation. We are able to do what's called pre-file bills. Like, if I wanted to do a bill right now, I could go ahead and put that bill into the system and have the drafters, they'll draft up a bill for me, right? And I can look at it and say, let me start working with my partners on getting this right for January. If you're asking about bills in December, if you're asking about them in November, that's a little late in the game, because we got to have our stuff together to go up to session in January. And so if you really want to make a difference and you really got stakeholders and people that you want to do this work with, my strong suggestion is that you reach out now, even if it's just an idea, even if it's just like, I really care about this, I think the law needs to be changed. Now's the time. And you can go to Virginia General Assembly .gov. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. If you don't know who your legislator is, Virginia, I'm making sure I'm getting this right for y'all. General Assembly. All right, go to virginiageneralassembly.org. .gov, and you can find out who your particular state senator or legislator is. I'm going to the comments here. Good morning, Mr. Little. Good morning, Miss Janice and Miss Yolanda. It's a blessing to have y'all this morning. And I said good morning to Tamisha, and a couple other folks said good morning. So what do we have on here? So Tamisha says they need to revise who they base wages and income off of. They need to revise who income they base minimum wages off of. What you got to be a little bit more specific for me. For what is it, for a particular program, or what you mean by who they base who they based minimum income off of. So Sunshine Lady says, idea, post timelines on your site. Yeah. Timeliness. Idea, post timeline. Yes. So what I'll do, right, Sunshine Lady, what I do for the summer is I will release a document, and it's already built out, that has the timeline. Because we're in June, right? This is when we start really talking to people about bills, and I have the whole timeline mapped out, and we'll put that on our site. That'll also go out with my legislative priorities. And you're right, I'll release that timeline before I release my legislative priorities, because we're still working on what our priorities look like this year. Okay, so thank you, Lady Sunshine. I appreciate that. We're going to take that into account. Another question from Instagram. David Glass says, does a bill suggestion need to be written properly before being submitted to a legislator, or do drafters do that? That is a great question. So David Glass, we must be cousins. Well, on my husband's side. So David asked that, does it have to be written out? Does it have to? Absolutely not. And the best story that I have with the bill, and I tell this because it's just a great story. My legislative director was out front of Booker T. Washington High School on Park Avenue in the Park Avenue shops over there years ago, talking with someone for another candidate with people. This guy who was drunk was outside front of the Park Avenue shops, said, you know what? How come we can't take some of that drug money and do good stuff in the community? Why they go collect that drug money? Why can't they come back and build basketball courts and do stuff like that? And that was it. That was his idea. And one of the first three bills that I was able to get passed was changing the language for forfeited assets, because that's what that is. When the police confiscate a car, a bike, money, drugs, or whatever, those are assets, right? Those are assets that have been forfeited, taken, and they have value, right? When they have the police auctions and things like that, we changed the standard to allow police to be able to do community investment or promote goodwill in the community with those forfeited assets. Because typically, before we got the bill done, they could only use it for like training equipment and things like that. So like, yes, it doesn't have to, you don't have to, I don't even have a full idea sometimes. Oftentimes when I have a bill idea, we are researching other states to see, talking to groups and seeing other places where the bill has been written and how it can be comparable and work in the Commonwealth. But that's what we're here for. So I'm not the genius that knows how to write Virginia State Code language. So I'm not a genius. I'm not, not even a genius, excuse me, because you'll need a genius. That is not my skill set. And we all have skill sets, and we have people that support us in this process. And you are that person too. So David, the answer is no and yes. No, I don't do it. Yes, we have drafters to do that. Tamisha said the for life minimum wages is 15 times 4 is 600. Once taxes is out, the insurance, insurance, what to do to, we have to talk, because I'm not really clear on what you're talking about. And what I'm going to ask is if you can drop your message into my DMs, and then what's going to pop up is both the email and the phone number to our office. Can you reach out and we talk a little bit more about this? Oh, you're talking about how if rent is, I'm still not clear, and I apologize, and I don't want to try to hammer it out here, but I do want to know what you're talking about so we can talk. Yep, David's talking about legal spacing, wording, etc. No, you don't have to know any of that. You don't have to do all that. We got people to help us. We have another question. Where is the Commonwealth when it comes to community policing? So Ray, June 5. That's Ray, at Ray June 5 on Instagram said, where's the Commonwealth when it comes to community policing? So that is a question specifically that's a local stance. Of course, the governor is going to have his stance. Each legislator is going to have a feeling about how they feel about community policing. The Commonwealth itself does not have a policy on community policing. Now, there have been programs and incentives, and I sat down at a round table with the governors and police chiefs from across the Commonwealth and sheriff's offices and stuff, where we talked about best practice in policing, and I was super impressed. And I know y'all gonna hate this, right? Don't hate this, because if you got a ticket in this place, because they known for ticketing people, don't hate this. But the city of Emporia's police chief sat, I think, next to me, and I was really impressed with his work that he's doing in community policing. There is also another, if we're looking at examples, right? I'm just saying this, Ray June, because I've been looking at other cities at what they're doing, and how we can start having more robust conversations at the state level to cooperate and to collaborate with the local level about policing, because crime, the economics of crime is just ridiculous, and we've got to start looking at it that way to do better. But there's also a sheriff, John Chair, out in Marion, Virginia, that just has a beautiful way of, excuse me, a sheriff. He would kill me. I'm sorry, John, if you watch this. I'm sorry, Chief Sheriff. I'm sorry. He is the chief of police in Marion, Virginia, that is doing an outstanding job and has given me reading materials and work to do to get better at doing this thing. So the Commonwealth doesn't have an actual stance. That is your local department. And I'm going to encourage you to reach out, right? Like reach out to your council, reach out to your chief of police and ask them. So what is your stance? What are your beliefs with community policing? Because there are people that don't believe in it, right? Like we have some very robust debates about this. All right, next question. Instagram over here asking questions, y'all. So if y'all got questions, drop them in the chat. Tamisha 757 said the police shouldn't have the right to take anyone's personal belonging. I guarantee you, if I go back generation, it starts with people making more money than the police force. So what happens is with forfeited assets is when, let's say, a person is a kingpin or whatever. I'm gonna use the worst case scenario and the lightest scenario, that they are driving a car that they are transporting. Let me not even say a kingpin. They're a person who's transporting drugs from point A to point B, right? They're transporting drugs, and the car, the police catch them. They decide to impound the car because they have to arrest the person, and the person decides, I'm just not going back to get the car because that's not worth it, because if I say it's my car, and like all these different things. So there are a number of reasons why police end up with forfeited assets. It's not just the whole, because I know that I'm from big city, I'm a big city kid, right? A big city adjacent kid. And I know that there are instances where the police overstep, just like, look, where people take their power and their authority and they overdo it, and they'll take, and then we have that issue. But there are legit situations where, let's say, a gun was confiscated, a person is being charged for that gun, having that particular gun. They say it's not my gun. Well, whose is it? I don't know. It's not mine. Nobody comes and picks it up because nobody wants to appear guilty for this particular gun being in a particular place. And then it ends up as a forfeited asset. So just really think there are a myriad of ways that the policing ecosystem ends up with other people's personal belongings. So not just taken, but I understand. I don't know the origins of it, but that's real. So David on Instagram, you guys, says, where would we go to learn to write Virginia code? A lawyer? Well, I don't. That's a good question, David. What I can do is find out I would say start reading Virginia Code, where you can go to, let me get the site. For those of you guys don't know, yes, there's a specific speak, right? Just like we speak English, just like we speak English, our Virginia State Code is a certain amount of language. If you go to laws.lis is legislative information system, I believe. Laws.lis.virginia.gov. You'll get to the Virginia Code. Now, the Code of Virginia, the Constitution of Virginia, charters, authorities, compacts, codified acts, they're all inside this electronic book. So you can go read our Constitution, learn about the laws. Charters are specific things for specific cities and authority. It's a lot in there. But where you go to learn it, I don't know that there's a class that teaches you how to write like the Virginia Code. But that's if you are interested, David, and if you're super serious, reach out to the office and then I can connect you. I can ask one of our drafters, right? Because most of these people are lawyers, right? That have this gift of writing the language, making sure the comma's in the right place. We have bill drafters in every single committee. And that's the interesting part. What I love is when I walk into a committee, we have the legislative services. These people work so hard to write all of our ideas into, and they work with us in tandem. So there's a lawyer sitting in the room to make sure the comma, the period is in the right place, and that the bill says what we intended to do. So if you're interested, David, I would 100% have no problem. Reach out to the DM us, and you'll see it'll give you again the email address and our phone number, and reach out to us, and we'll get you connected to a drafter, to a lawyer that does that, and find out. Yeah, get more information there. I'd rather cut the middle woman out and get you right to the source. I'm be happy to do that. I think that's really exciting. Rajan said he's concerned because he just literally took an advanced security training course where you'd be surprised that all the training modules only depicted minorities as, yeah. So that, and if that is an issue, right? Look, when you talk about as a person who works in instructional system design, that's my background. I'll tell you a little story. I had a client, Ray John, this is getting you to the right person. What Ray June just said is that he had a advanced security course where the pictures in the books or the pictures in the training modules that he were doing, whether it's online or in a book, were all only depicted minorities as perpetrators. I had a client I was building an e-learning course and modules online for, where I had to depict leadership, people in leadership, and all of the people I depicted in leadership were minority women. And this was purposeful. Like, I did it on purpose, because if I made them all white men, it would have been not a thing. We were in a meeting. With these people, and one of our clients brought it up. And this is the government. This was on a government contract building e-learning. And she was like, well, can we change some of the leadership roles to different people? And luckily, I wasn't the team lead. I was just the developer. And my team lead said, well, what do you mean? I love him. Shout out to Steve, who was also a pastor. He left eventually. Steve was just like, tell me what you mean. I was livid. And he was too. He's like, if those would have been all white men, no one would have had any problem with the people that you picked for leadership. It wouldn't even been a thing. And that was in 2000, maybe 14, 15. So I understand what that feels like. And so just getting to Ray June's sentiment, right? That's not what you want to see, right? All types of peoples it does matter. And we're learning more and more. We're helping people understand more and more that representation of things, it matters to how we shape, how we color, how we police in our communities, like it all matters. And so you want people to do it with intention. Ray, I would say that is also a conversation for whomever convened that advanced security training for you. I would say to them, you know what I noticed, and just go from there. It was so uncomfortable. I had to point. Yes, he did. Yeah, right. Yes, I love it. He said it was so uncomfortable that he had to point it out. And that's the thing. When we know better, we try to do better. When we know better, we let people know, and then we can hold them accountable for also knowing better, because we invited them in, we called them into the change, and they just said, you know what, forget you. So I say always give people the opportunity to say F you to your face. And Sunshine said it's implicit bias. And sometimes it's just direct, right? Somebody made it and was like, shoot, whoever made that as a developer, right? A human being built that module. Right, y'all, a human being built that training module. And so just like I was intentional with making sure all of the leadership positions were women and women of color. Actually, they weren't all women of color, but they were all leader, the CO, the XO. Triggered somebody, right? Absolutely. It's the people. We are people behind that process, and we need to make sure that we're showing up and showing out. Let me get to Facebook. Thank you for putting this comment in here, Miss Yolanda. She said, you can also go to the law library downtown Norfolk. They have books that explain and give examples of documents. They can help you online. Thank you, Ms. Yolanda. She's absolutely right. So for David, we have in Slover, right? It's Slover Library. Isn't it Slover? Yes, Slover Library has a law library where there are people and resources there to help you. But I will definitely connect you to connect the dots. But he says learning how to read code was definitely a thing in itself. Yeah, you got to learn how to read this stuff. I'm reading it like, okay, into this, and we sit in those committee meetings. I will have to post the one committee meeting where we were like, it was a whole thing about where a comma went inside of one of my bills. They were like, the comma cannot go there. It has to go there. We had to suspend, like I had to step away from the podium myself and the Republican legislator and that had an issue with it. We went to the side, worked it out, figured out what the language could be, and then came back and I represented the bill. Oh, it's at the courthouse. She said it's at the courthouse. I'm sorry, Miss Yolanda said they can help you at the courthouse too. So yes, that's real. This is I have some ideas, even bills that could be added to current bills. That is all the things. So it's not just about new ideas, y'all, just so you know, because David on here just jogged my mind, is that this is not just about bringing new ideas. You can want to change an existing law, an existing thing that's already there too. That is equally as important as we build. We want to make the things we have better and create new things for the life that we're living now. So thank you, David. I look forward to it. Ray June said he thinks it's sad how low-income neighborhoods are heavily policed with no levels of empathy towards people they live. It's time we have to make sure that they live within zip code. Yeah, and Ray June, I don't know what city you are in, what city you live in. He said it's, how we need to have police officers that live in that zip code, police that zip code, right? Like, how do we do that? That is a great suggestion, right? Of like, how do you make sure that you have people that are of the community in the community, right? Because we have to redefine our community norms in some place. And it is always great to have another member of the community be a part of that. And he's talking about his question from earlier on policing. I've been on here 30 minutes. I know I'm gonna get in trouble. So if you guys have any community events or anything that you want me to shout out, put them in the comments, please. I'll do that. I'm gonna take these last couple questions and then I'm gonna sayonara until next Thursday. And I'll consider this time because it seems like you guys are a little bit more awake at this time instead of 6:30. Okay, so yes, Ray June, whatever community you're in, my suggestion is because you have, it seems like law enforcement is a big thing for you. For me, I would start talking with my council person, I've sat down when I wanted to do this Black Book back in 2000, it was a friend of mine, when I wanted to do this Black Boy Joy event, we wanted the police to be bought in on it. We got a meeting to sit down with the police chief. He heard us out and he actually gave us suggestions of how to bring the police department in when we have great ideas like this. So, as a person who's tried to organize and coalition build, I am always here to be helpful in that way, right? These are those times, and this is your time to ask those questions. So like, that is my best suggestion to you, Ray June 5, is to take some time, talk to your first your city council person, and then write a letter to your police chief and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, right? I'm a community member, because I think oftentimes they are looking for community members that are passionate, right? Like they want people that want to work with them. So, and if you need some support, reach out to the office. We're always here to help you craft your message. We'll do our very best. Okay. Sunshine say, yeah, it's a subconscious, but yeah, it is. Conscious and subconscious though, Sunshine, like it's a little bit of both. Okay. Like it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. The opposite, because you had the training. Wow. Yep. Oh, wow. Yep. That's beautiful. All right. Let's see what we got. I'm just making sure I got everybody's stuff. Oh, Rachel, you live in Norfolk. Okay. See, I can't see your picture. So if we know each other, I don't know your screen tag name. Okay. Okay. I don't know your screen tag name. And Rachel is not very specific. So I apologize if we know each other and we met and stuff. And you like, because you said Jackie. So that means we familiar. But yeah, definitely reach out to the office and see there, you got me. Like, okay, now we online together. Let's connect to take those steps. We have a new police chief here in the city of Norfolk, so that there's a new opportunity. And I'm so happy that you found your space, that you have your space that you feel passionate about, because that's what we need. I don't need you to be brilliant on everything. And I'm wrap it up here. I'm gonna leave it at this with y'all. We don't need you to be brilliant on everything. We need you to be brilliant on your thing. And I don't even mean brilliant. I just need you to care out loud with me so that we can take the steps. Every issue is not my issue. You're not going to see me leading. You may see me following on some issues, because it's just not I'm not here to change the world. I am personally not here to change the world. But what I am here to do is change my corner of the world, my corner, right? And if we just happen to share this corner, or that corner happens to be right on that little corner that my house sits on and expands to my block, then that's what I do. I will not fatigue myself trying to change the world. I don't want you to do that, but I do want you to link arms and link connections with us in this place of privilege to do better, because I don't know all the things. And please don't ever assume that I know it all, because I got elected. I don't. I don't. That's where you all come in as an integral part of this process. It is a citizen legislator, part-time job with full-time problems. Okay, part-time job with full. I get paid. Hold on, like where's the little thing at? I got it over here. 70. Hold on. Look. I'm gonna be clear. I get paid $17,000 something a year, right? And I saw my husband on here. I get pennies as much work we put in, but I'm grateful. It's an honor and it is a privilege of time to be able to do this. So I'm here for it, but I need y'all to be a part of this. I absolutely do. So I'm looking forward, Mr. Glass over here, David, for connecting you with the bill drafter, and Miss Yolanda, who's an amazing community member, obviously has probably used this, the law library downtown, the downtown law in the courthouse. So if there's a way that I can connect you to Miss Yolanda, I know she be in the community. She be out here helping folks. If I can connect you, then that's great. I look forward to talking to some of you. Wait, I'm trying to think of all the things. Did I miss something? Crystal, I appreciate your yeah. Oh, look at y'all giving each other support. Yes. So I look forward to connecting with y'all. Oh, and greetings to my mom. You see, I missed all of that. See there, y'all slapped me with a wet noodle. But here's the office, right? So I've been talking too much. I've been over here 5 minutes longer than I'm supposed to be. Until next time, I'm Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, the Laced Up legislator for the House of Delegates, 89th District. I have to always say this is no money, no mission. I'm in huge fundraising mode. We have several projects underway, and I have an election in November. So if you appreciate the work that we do, we ask that you just contribute. Even if it's $5 a month, all of it helps because we have to fund the things that we want to do, the missions. I think recently, just to tell you, for those of you guys who have donated, we were able to sponsor 2 teenagers the ability to go to the YMCA for the summer, right? So what I hope to do is get some more transparency just in funding, like where's our money coming from? What are we doing with it? How much we're spending? But without money, we have no mission, right? And we talked about making sure that we get people in the seats. This is a huge election year. I do have opponents in November, so we need help. If you feel like you want to be a part of the work that we're doing and you want to monetarily donate, you can go to delegateJackieGlass.com or go to the link on my link tree here on Instagram, all the other places. It's in the bio. If you feel like you want to give the gift of time, We have so many things. Also, be thinking about November. I need y'all to start thinking about November because that's election day. I'm looking for people to work the polls and tell people about the good work that we do at the polls on election day. Would love to see and have you there and be a part of the work that we're doing. All right. Oh, Leanne, so good to see you. Thank you. This is how we live. This is how we live. So I appreciate that sentiment. Until next time, I will see y'all. Y'all make it a great week. See you next Thursday morning. Bye, y'all.